Hello, I'm Jomika and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is our modded career and this is episode 4. So last time we did one quick mission to launch a probe into orbit and recover it. And now we want to try and get a flyby of the moon. Also Kerbal powered landing, which is hard for me to do. And then we want a manned orbit and safe return. So what I'm going to start with is send a few satellites into orbit. That way we can always have a connection to Kerbal while we are on our way to the moon. So let's go ahead and open up a saved ship. So we want a relay satellite, and that should be fine. So what we're going to do with this one is go ahead and send it into a polar orbit, a very high polar orbit, and unable to launch because this has over 30 parts. So let's upgrade our vehicle assembly building, and we do have enough. So that's upgraded. It should be able to support. Hopefully it's not too heavy for the launch pad, which I think we've upgraded in the past. So we're going to go and we'll take off and head north. So let's go ahead and launch. I think everything is good. So we'll leave it going straight up for a little bit, and then we'll slowly tip over. Just make sure it stays stable. So let's go ahead and start to head north. Actually, I said north, but we're going to go south. Yeah, sometimes I have problems with my north, south, east, and west, especially when talking in degrees. If I sit down and think about it, I'm okay, but for the most part, I have problems. Like that, and we'll start to point south. If you can hear groaning in the background, that is my dog who is being very impatient about, I have no idea what, but just being impatient and making noise. Make sure I know he is there. And yes, I do know he's there. So we'll just check. We're coming up on 70 kilometers, which is good. And we just want to make sure that we keep pointing 180 or so. Just basically a 45-degree angle. And we can probably just go ahead and tilt this over a little bit more. So I almost feel like I should have gone north, but I mean it doesn't really matter when you're trying to go for a polar orbit. How high are we going here? 150, 160. So this will probably be, I don't know, close to 1,000,000 kilometers above when we're done with it. So we can just go ahead and keep burning this way. The higher it is, the better. We'll stay in contact with Kerbal longer. So we'll just keep burning this until I guess it runs out, and we'll go ahead and straighten that up. So 1.6, and that will come back into orbit. We can get rid of the fairing, and then we will go ahead and decouple this to make sure that you get sent back and burn up in the atmosphere. And for this, do we have an antenna? We do, of course. We'll extend that antenna. And that should be good. The only thing we'll have to worry about is sunlight, but we have plenty of electric charge right now. We don't have to worry about it yet. The sun is rising in the distance. And I think what we'll do is go ahead and wait until we're about here, and then we can finish circularizing everything, except we'll transmit that, and that, and that. The only thing is we need to worry about staying in space. Let's quick save here, just to make sure. And then what we can do is try to burn in a direction that will bring up the periapsis more than the apoapsis. So is it this one? I need to stage the rocket. So now the engine is lit. And let's check. So yes, that's going up, and that's going down. That's fine, we just want to make sure that this gets to above 70. Alright, there we go. So eventually when we get to this point, we can circularize the rest of the way, but we'll have to wait until Kerbal spins and is pointing in this direction. It may be close, we'll see. But we can go ahead and fast forward a little bit. And we are in orbit, so we don't have to worry about crashing back into Kerbal. But it looks like we'll be just out of range. So yeah, now would be the ideal time to burn and finish the circularization, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this orbit. So we will go ahead and hope that down here the Space Center, I think, is right about there. So this time around we should be fine. We'll point prograde. Wait till we're almost there. How's our electric charge? It's fine, totally full. So right about here, we will point prograde and finish up this burn. And we'll bring it up to around the same as the other side. Plenty of fuel. We could have waited a little bit longer, but that's okay. I get impatient, and it's not going to make that big of a difference. Alright, so we can wait about there. And then we'll wait until we get to about our apoapsis again. And just kind of finish. I mean, this would be fine now, but I'd kind of like to make it pretty circular. So we are basically there. Go ahead and point prograde again. And the apoapsis is still climbing a tiny bit, which means we're still a little bit too early, but that's okay. So 1.661. And we'll call that good right there. So the next thing I want to do is just make sure that our solar panels are facing the sun. And let's turn off stability control pointing towards prograde. And yeah, these are perfect. So we'll try one more time just to see if there's any science we can send back. And there is temperature. Okay, so all of that science is done, and that'll be good. And now we can go ahead and go to the tracking station. Yeah, why not? I was going to go to the Space Center, but we can do the tracking station also and just take a look. And then this is our orbit here. Nowhere anywhere close to this orbit. But this will give us plenty of time to kind of communicate when we're going out towards the moon, and the Space Center is on this side. So the antenna, whatever you want to call it, the radio will bounce off this satellite and then go out to our whatever satellite we're doing. The communication network. So we will close that. World's first milestone. Oh, broken a speed record. That's fine. So mission control. Let's check our missions. So we don't want any bases or stations, so we're not offered any contracts. We could do some field research. Perform experience around the KSC. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Perform seismic scan. The mountains, tundra, and ice caps. We'll pass on all that. Rare science from Kerbin's water. Tried that before, and I wasn't able to do it successfully, so we won't worry about that. Kerbal Academy, advanced piloting. Reach orbit. We won't worry about that. Basically, I would probably end up doing a SETI contract, or maybe a satellite one. Into flight, but between altitudes and speeds, so we won't worry about those. Let's check the satellite. Position a satellite in a specific orbit of the moon, and also Kerbin. We saw the Kerbin one. That was a big, lots of burning for that. We won't worry about that. ScanSat. Let's just do the SETI contracts. We will build our rocket for the moon flyby. So we want a probe. That's fine. We will go ahead and leave the facility and orbit and safe return. We could also do this. Yeah. So we'll accept that also. And let's go ahead and do that mission. We've done it before. We didn't get the mission for it, but we did technically complete it. Just the game doesn't know that we did it. So we want the orbit Mark 1. And this was, yeah, this is the one we want. So we got some extra fuel, just in case. Let's add this, and then we'll check our total delta V. It's not going to make a big difference, but let's just check. So we're at 6,104, and that brings it up by 24. So not much, but we don't need these on because we're not doing any new biomes. So we can leave that. The only place we will get maybe a new biome is on Kerbin when we land, but that's okay. We're not going to get too much science from that. So we don't really need the Communitron, but we'll just leave it anyways. So we'll go ahead and launch this. we will go ahead and throttle up and hit the spacebar. So this one we will want to head east. Just the normal takeoff to get into orbit. Easiest way possible. So we'll kind of tilt over a little bit, see if we can get some sideways momentum. It definitely wants to stay pointing up because there is no vectoring on these rockets. So we can go ahead and ditch those and light the next stage, and then we'll start to tip over. We can go ahead and turn to an orbit, and then we'll just do prograde there for now. So that should be okay. I think it'll slowly start to turn over, and it'll end up being a pretty good gravity turn there. And let's just go ahead and open this. So one Kerbal basically just needs to get to orbit, and then we need to recover it, and that's it. That should not be a hard thing to do. So we'll go ahead and kill off the engines at about 85 or so. So right about there. We're at 46, so we got a ways to go. We got half of our fuel tank left. We may not even need the second stage here, but that leaves us plenty of room for error. If we do mess up, we can still salvage the mission. So we'll go ahead and speed up a little bit. Get closer to our apoapsis, and then we'll go ahead and fire the engines again. So we could probably start about here, and then we'll just burn sideways from this point. Just get our orbital speed up as fast as we can. And the apoapsis is still climbing, so we were a little early, but I'd much rather be early than late. We'll just let this finish its burn. Either we get circular, our apoapsis climbs too quickly, or we run out of fuel in this stage. And it looks like the apoapsis is just going to climb too quickly. We're almost there, but it's going to be a lot of wasted fuel. Not that we need to worry about wasting fuel, but I don't want the apoapsis to go too high. It'll increase our mission time at the same time while we waste fuel. So we'll point prograde. And then go ahead and burn again. How much fuel do we have? Alright, so that's plenty. We are in orbit, so now all we have to do is return back. Yep. I was looking at the moon flyby, and it said we were low in space, which we are, but we're just not above the correct planet or moon. And in this case, it was the moon. So we'll finish this fuel tank off. And then we probably won't even have to touch the second one. Nope. We got plenty of fuel. So we can go ahead and ditch that. And then we'll go ahead and ditch this one also, because we don't need it. There we go. So this has a built-in heat shield. We don't have to worry about it too much. And then once we get into the atmosphere, it'll automatically point retrograde. and we can go ahead and speed it up again. We don't have to worry about the signal, just because we have a pilot on board, or some sort of crew member, and he will deploy the chute for us. So we can just let this go do its thing, hurtle back towards Kerbal, and then once we're able to, we will pull the chute, and that'll be the mission. So yeah, we will be totally fine. Right about now we should be able to deploy the chute. And there we go. Crew report while flying over the grasslands. We will keep that. Go ahead and deploy the chute. And then increase our time again. And then it looks like we will be landing over the grasslands. So we can do an EVA report and all of that stuff. We don't have any other science experiments, but that's okay. We have grasslands very close to the Space Center. So once we touch down, we'll go ahead and EVA out. Let's do that. And we'll keep the EVA report. We will go ahead and take the data, and then board, and then we'll do another crew report from here. I don't think it matters, but I think it'll be new. And then we can go ahead and recover the vessel, and then the experiment should be completed. Alright, so we got, the crew report from Kerbal's grasslands we did get. So we can go ahead and hit next. We got 425 funds recovered. We were pretty far away from the Space Center, and we didn't come back with many parts, but that's okay. We're not really worried about money at this point. So this is all the stages that were destroyed. Contract complete for the manned orbit and safe return. We got $75,000, 1 science, and 50, I want to say respect, but that's not that. Whatever that is. Reputation. That's the word I was looking for. Alright, so we can go into mission control, check out the active contracts. It is just the moon flyby. We finished the manned orbit and safe return. And let's see what else we have available to us. So we have the moon flyby, which we have accepted. We need Kerbal powered landing, which I'm not looking forward to. And then we can do the same thing, the manned orbit, but this time it'll be for 72 hours instead of just quickly going up and coming back. So we will have to worry about having enough food on board for our Kerbal to survive. Is it Kerbal? Kerbal, maybe? Whatever he is, we want him to survive. But that's going to do it for today's episode. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to continue to watch the series and don't want to miss an episode, be sure to subscribe. And thank you for joining me. I will see you guys next time.